Hello and welcome to the introduction of the Beginner's Square knitting tutorials. My name is Heather. I am the creator of Arthur's Knitting Business, and the first thing I want to say is a massive, unbelievably massive thank you for your support in my small business. The fact that you have chosen my kit and my tutorials to help you with your knitting journey, it really does mean so. It means so much to me, and it means I can better help support my family. So thank you so much. What I want to go over very quickly before you get going is just what's included in the kit and what you can actually be doing with it. So with your kit, you should have a paper copy of the Beginner Square Knitting Pattern booklet. It is home printed, which is why the quality is not amazing. However, you should also have a QR code, which allows you to download the digital copy, which makes life so much easier because then the links that are within inside to help you on your knitting journey, if you need like a quick recap, you can on the PDF just click on them and it will take you there straight away. So the first thing I'd like to do is just explain how this kind of transpired. I'm not going to give you a massive background behind myself, but the Beginner's Square happened because I had to take some time off work due to postnatal depression, and at that moment in my life I was feeling quite lost. My identity was gone. I was just very confused. But the one thing I've always done since I was about 6 is knit. And when my gorgeous little baby boy arrived, that's the one thing I couldn't do anymore because he took up all my time. And that was fine. I was absolutely fine with that because he was worth everything. He is worth everything. He is the light of my life. But the big thing that impacted on my identity was my 9-to-5 job, which is a teacher. So I am and still am a design and technology teacher in a secondary school. Side note, that is why my hands look absolutely rubbish. So I can't get on with fake nails and whatnot. So I've tried to paint my nails, but I am someone who is always working with their hands. So they are really rough. They always look dirty. I promise you they're not. But as you go through my tutorials, you will think, oh God, what's she just been doing? I don't know, probably fixing a lamp or repairing my stairs or changing a plug socket. Like I can't sit still, and I just work with my hands. So I'm sorry if they offend you, but they're the only two I've got. But anyway, after having my son, I found it really difficult to teach as well as be a mum, because I am that kind of person that if I'm going to do something, I'm putting my whole heart and soul into it. And with teaching, I did a lot of my work at home because I chose to, not just because I felt like I had to. And to be honest, yeah, I did. But it's because I wanted to, and I wasn't able to do that anymore. So I just felt a little bit lost, a little bit alone, and I had to take some time off. And in that time off, I was sat at home thinking, what the heck am I going to do? And then I saw my little knitting bag, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can pick that back up. And so I did. And I wanted to knit my son a jumper. I couldn't find a design of the thing that I had in my head. So I thought, you know what? I've got the skills. I'm gonna make a pattern. Why not? It took me months. This thing that I thought would take me like a week took me months, and I loved it. I loved learning about pattern making. I loved learning about charts. I loved every single bit of it. And so I made the jumper. I had lots of compliments from friends and family, and even people on the street like, oh my God, that jumper's so cute. Where'd you get that from? And I'd be like, oh, I made it. And it kind of inspired me to, do you know what? It's time to turn this lovely hobby that I have adored my entire life. Let's turn it into a future 9-to-5 if I can. And so that's what I decided to do. I decided to make and sell knitting patterns, and that's how I started off. And the first knitting pattern I wrote was a textured jumper, which I'm just frantically looking around my little haberdashery and I can't find it everywhere. You know when you see something all the time, but no, never mind. I'm sure I'll show it to you at some point. But whenever I told people, oh yeah, I knit that, they would always say the same thing. Oh, I wish I could do that. And my response is still the same. Well, why can't you? Knitting is like anything. You have to practice and your skills will improve as you go. So I decided, well, let's help people. If people want to knit these things, let's help people. Why don't I create a little kit to, get started? And so that is how the Beginner Square was born. So obviously knitting squares is the easiest thing to do, but what I find when I speak to people about learning to knit, the thing they say to me is, I was just making a scarf, or I just made a load of squares, I didn't know what to do with it. And that's a really good point, because when you start knitting, literally all you can do are squares. There's not much else you can do really, or a scarf, or you can sew them to make a blanket. So what I wanted to do was also show people how they could take the beginning of their knitting journey and turn it into actual things. So in my little beginner's square booklet at the back, I show you, oh gosh, let me just zoom out a little bit. Oh, apologies for that. Whee, whoop. There you go. So this is a plushie toy that I made using the squares from the beginner square. It's literally just squares that I've sewn together. My son loves it. He is going through a little phase at the minute where he just loves it when you throw things at his face. I know that sounds really, really awful, but things like this, things that are soft, he loves it. And then he'll pick it up and he'll smash his face in it. And then he tries to throw it back, but he throws it over his head. So he's not quite there yet. So this is one of the things that you could make. And all I've done here is I've stitched the squares together, which I show you how to stitch, not only here, but also in the booklet. And I added some stuffing from an old cushion. And lo and behold, I created this lovely little ball. And I did the ABC on it just to give it a bit of extra detail. It might come in handy one day, but you can just see how dirty it is. Because he adores it. And the other thing you could do with your lovely squares is you can join them up to create a cushion cover. For example, you're welcome to do a cushion cover, or something like this. So I call this a snuggle cloth. And it's perfect for little people. It's perfect for babies because of the textures. The textures give them something to explore. The colours can also be engaging, but let's be honest, they're more fun for you really, aren't they? Because I can't quite remember now because my little boy's nearly 2 and I think they start seeing black and white or they get better vision at 6 months, I think. I can't quite remember. But the texture is there for them to explore. So again, with this little booklet, this is what you can make. And I think the big thing about knitting is, the one thing that no one can take away from you once you've made these items is the bragging rights. It is wonderful to be able to say, I made that. And people go, oh, really? Yeah, I did that. So yeah, bragging rights, it's just the best feeling. So I will stop there because I can just talk about this for days, but I just wanted to give you a very quick little insight as to who I am, how this whole thing started, what you can do with these tutorials or with these beginner squares, but also again, just a massive thank you. So thank you, and let's get started.